I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong.
Hi!
Oh my goodness. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're really good. We're vaccinated, so we're good.
Oh, wow. I'm jealous. I'm not eligible till I think like next week or something. So I'm waiting my turn.
We're going to do our official introduction, so sit back and enjoy.
Okay, I wanted to ask before we started, do you want me to like have headphones? Do you want me to like is it bad for audio? I mean whatever works best for you guys.
We're totally chill.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. We are thrilled to welcome Pittsburgh's own Joe Serafini to CP time, Chris and Paul time, and we are so excited. Lots to share.
So Joe's from Bethel Park, right?
Which is a suburb of Pittsburgh. He was a Civic Light Opera student and mini star.
And he attended the University of Michigan.
He has credits, which include Scientastic,
Top Shot,
Disney's Family Sing-Along,
and he plays Seb Matthew in the Disney Plus series High School Musical, the series.
Just to name a few. He's also worked in many musical theaters across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Serafini!
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so thrilled and honored that you had the time for us.
Of course.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Burbank, California.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's awesome. And
I officially made the move here last month after we wrapped on season 2.
And so it's permanent?
It is for now, yeah. I'm here. I'm settling down, like setting up the room and everything.
Yeah. We have a little delay, maybe because
I know.
Because we're far away.
It's just internet.
Just internet. All right. Well,
Here, let me close some tabs.
You're famous. You probably have lots of tabs.
No. I think it just might help. There we go. We'll try that.
Okay. So how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we just finished season 2 and yeah, just getting settled in.
What was that like?
It was super fun. I mean, it was wild filming in COVID times. Like there was lots of protocols and just very different from normal filming, but we got it done. We did it. We did the thing, and I'm just so excited for everyone to see it once it comes out.
How many episodes is it?
There's 12 this season.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your question?
So can you tell us what's life been like for you during the pandemic?
It's been interesting. I mean, we actually had filmed we had just finished 2 of the first episodes in the season, and we had just gotten started on the 3rd episode of the season whenever the pandemic kind of shut everything down. So when it shut down, I kind of came back here and hung out here for a little bit. And then I was like, well, my empty apartment is just sitting in Utah. So I went back there and we kind of just stayed in Utah that's where we filmed the show. Okay. And we just stayed there for the time of the pandemic. And then by the time we were ready to come back and film, we were just there and we stuck it out. So I lived in Utah for like basically a whole year.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was beautiful, yeah.
So what's it like filming under protocols? What's that like?
Well, you have masks on the whole time. We all had to keep our distance. We had lots of testing. But as soon as the cameras were rolling, we were able to, you know, take them off and, act like life was normal. Because, it is an escape for the entertainment purposes.
Wow, that's amazing. So, even though there's a little bit of a delay, I think what we just have to do is like pause for a second, right? We have to ask them a question and then just pause. Would you say that's what's happening?
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're hearing.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's
totally fine.
It's the World Wide Web. That's how it is. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how you got where you are. For our kids, our kids who will be watching this, like they so many of them have this dream. They watch Disney their whole childhood, and they're like that. And when they come to Kappa, when they come to our school, they're like, that's what I want to do. So can you talk a little bit about how did it happen? How did you get there, and how did your education serve you to get there?
Yeah, it's been a journey, as you know. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I took classes in musical theater at CLO and, just worked really hard, balancing normal school and also after school activity through CLO. But it kept me busy, and I kind of really learned work ethic, I think, and just how to be a professional and how to work in those settings of performance and acting. But anyway, so then I went to college, was doing the school thing, and then got an audition for the show, originally for a different role. Kind of forgot about it after I sent that in. A few months passed, and then right before they were about to start shooting, they asked me to tape for Seb, and I went ahead and sent that in, and within a week I was in Salt Lake City getting my first fitting and getting ready for my first day of filming. So it was very quick, but the journey there, lots of hard work and perseverance for sure.
Well, you talked about work ethic, and that's something. So Paul teaches instrumental music. I teach theater. And one thing we keep trying to explain to our kids about the business, being artists, is what work ethic is. And you mentioned that really early on. You mentioned that back when you were a kid studying at the CLO. But can you put it in your own words what that means, what work ethic means?
Yeah, I think it's like a discipline of holding yourself to a standard and putting in the work that is gonna let you achieve whatever you hope to achieve. I know that's kind of convoluted, but I don't know. I think it's just working hard and putting in the time and the energy. Sorry, there's motorcycles outside my apartment. But just working hard and really taking the time.
I think it's been extra hard for the kids during the pandemic because I think it's hard for them to see the payoff. It's hard. They've been learning virtually. And in both of our fields, we've been trying to get the kids to work towards something, right? To get, for me, I'm having the kids write their own shows, write their own cabaret, feature themselves. Paul does a lot of group work and private coaching. And what would you say to a kid living through the pandemic who is like, it doesn't matter what we do?
Oh, I would say it totally does matter. And everything that you're doing right now is going to it's going to help you to grow into becoming even better. I actually just watched your interview with Izzy McCullough before this to kind of prepare and see what you were talking to people about. Love her. I don't know her, but she went to my school and huge fan. But when she was like, I love that we're constantly evolving. And I think that everything that you're doing every day is all working towards that same goal and building yourself and becoming a better artist. So even when you're not seeing the payoff, it's all going onto that pile of building yourself and your being and your artistry, I think.
100%.
But I understand that not seeing the payoff, it's hard.
So when you went to the Civic Light Opera and you were a kid, you were also balancing school, but you're also a pretty accomplished pianist too, aren't you?
I not as much anymore. I feel like I've fallen off my like my fingers don't play the way they used to. But yes, I mean I have played my whole life since I was 7. So
How did that come into play, and why? Because that's a lot to balance. How did you get? Why did you also continue that part of your training?
yeah. Well, it started well. I come from a very musical family. We grew up watching my dad sing in church, and I have 3 older siblings, and we all did the CLO summer camps at least. So when I went and saw my sister and Annie as one of the unnamed orphans at the Benedum in like 2003, I think, I came home and or no, it was Sound of Music actually, but Annie was the first one that came before. But with Sound of Music, I came home and I sounded out some of the songs on the piano. So it started by ear, and then eventually I was like, I want to keep playing. Like I like this, and my parents were like, okay, well we should start doing formal lessons. So it never was something that I had to like discipline myself for. Maybe in the very beginning, in terms of like the technique of it all, because I just like playing music and like being in charge of the music that was playing. But really it was just fun for me and I just enjoyed it so much and I liked playing. So it all worked towards it.
Do you think playing an instrument helped you get into Michigan?
I mean, who's to say? But I think it definitely, in some ways, like set me apart for sure.
What was your audition for college like? Because that's another thing I know the kids are try to wrap their brain around, right? Um,
Uh,
back back when a
uh,
long time ago, another lifetime, when I was auditioning for college, it was like it was not as competitive. And
mhm.
now, it's almost as if a university casts a season. Would you agree with that in a way?
With my school, I didn't feel that way about how they chose students to enroll, but I can definitely see that with other programs. I've definitely heard of that for sure. But no, it definitely is way more competitive now and super scary. But I would never want to go through it again. But the process was what I think helped me and what I would impart to students that are hoping to apply to colleges and audition is just being as prepared as possible and really organized. I had like a whole spreadsheet of what colleges I was going to apply to and what their requirements were and what I was going to do for each audition and what their due dates were for like, and it was all just right on this one document. So that helped me a lot, just staying on top of it all. And just, like I said, being prepared, like having monologues in your back pocket and just like being ready to go with whatever they throw at you or ready to answer any question that they might have for you. And
Did you sort
yeah,
of
it's just a lot of preparation.
did you do sort of
What'd you say?
did you do sort of a mock-up audition, like when you talk about interviews and stuff? Did you try to prepare for that, or was it just off the top of your head?
Sort of. I mean, with different teachers, I think they would sort of try to prepare me and ask certain things, but nothing can prepare you for like that actual feeling in the room of when you're asked. Even like, yeah, it's hard. But no.
It's just being honest, right? It's like being honest and 100%.
So
A
can you tell us?
100%.
We already talked to Izzy about attending Michigan, and like that's a really noted program. What kind of training did you get that really sustains you today? Things the kind of preparation you had going to Michigan. How well did it prepare you? What kind of things didn't it prepare you for once you got into the real world of acting?
Yeah. I'm only about a year out at this point. So I feel like I'm still figuring out what the answer to those questions are. But I can tell you, it prepared me in ways outside of performing, even. I feel like those 4 years really just made me a better human and a better like member of society at large, because you come from Pittsburgh and you have your bubble, and then once you get out of there you realize there are so many more people that are like you but also way not like you. And that was a super big learning experience for me in my first few years, but also like a great way of like finding myself and who I want to be and what I want to be in the world, and all that stuff. But in terms of like not preparing, I mean, I have a musical theater degree and I'm acting on a television show, so I didn't really. We had an acting for the camera class, but it was one, and I'm still figuring out what that process is like. And I think nothing can really prepare you for working on a film set other than working on a film set, because it's just so massive and huge and just completely different than musical theater for sure.
We have a weird, like, alternate universe because you did Scientastic
Yeah.
when you were this big. And then
But the first one.
The first. And then they redid it. They made the pilot, and I worked on it. And I was originally hired as a script consultant and a choreographer for my kids who were hired for the show. And then, so the reason I bring it up is because you said nothing prepares you. Well, I do stage. I don't really pursue the other stuff, and so I was thrilled to like work behind the scenes and absorb everything. And they're like, "Wait a minute, we need someone to play the principal. Chris, do you want to play the principal?" And I was like, "Yes." Inside, I was like, "What?" But I was like, "Yes, I totally love to do that." But it was for me like such a learning experience because I got to sort of straddle both worlds for the first time in my life. And although the show wasn't picked up, it was still an amazing experience for me. And it was like, yeah, it was sort of like you don't know what it's like until you do it.
100%.
What are some of the perks of working on High School Musical, the series?
What kind of perks do you mean? Like
can you walk down the street without having thousands of screaming fans?
yes, of course. But no, I mean, that is very interesting, like being recognized by people that have watched the show. But just recently, I was picking up food and someone was just outside of the restaurant. They came in and they went back out, and then they came back in and were like, "Are you from High School Musical?" And it's like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "I just want to say, well, first of all, I'm so excited for season 2, and then also I just want to say thank you because you're the representation that I get to see on the show. I just never saw that growing up, and it means so much to me. So just thank you." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice." And that's like why we do what we do, is to like connect with people and tell stories that people relate to. And I don't know, that was really, I'd say that's one of the perks for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's
Is
something
being
that Izzy
that
said
representation.
too. Izzy mentioned that too, which it's really refreshing and long overdue that everybody is being represented, right? That TV and film are embracing diversity and life choices and however you want to, whatever umbrella you want to put it under. And I think that's really thrilling. Like it must be thrilling feeling like you're giving people, a chance to say I'm being seen.
Yes, 110%.
Yeah.
Because even me growing up, and I'm not even that old, but I didn't even get to see what I'm doing on the show now. Like I didn't get to see that growing up. At least not at this level of like a Disney show, you know.
We have a confession to make. We did spend the holiday weekend watching the original High School Musical. Paul had never seen it.
No, but I played it. I played it in 09. I think PMT did it in January of 09, and I played it at the Biome.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen the show, so I didn't know.
Wow, I love that.
And my niece, who's in her 20s, my sister was flipping the channel, and my niece was like, yeah, and she knew every word to every song. And my niece is so far from being a theater person. She's the opposite of me. And she's sitting on the couch and she's like, "We're soaring," and I was like, "Woohoo!" But it does have this magical, that show dealing with that age group, that time of your life has this sort of magic quality about it. Is that something that they talk about, to the cast?
100%, yeah.
Capturing and that energy?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's one of like the major themes of the show is finding your tribe with your theater people. We have scenes where we're like talking at the camera, like confessionals, and it was cut last season, but there was a scene where I was saying it's just really nice to find your tribe, and that was I was like, that really is true. And I feel like I found my tribe at CLO, and even in my doing the musicals at my high school, like those are your people. Like, you go on this whole journey together, like working on this thing that's bigger than yourself. And yeah, I think that's definitely a magical element. And yeah, we definitely are focusing on that with every character for sure.
What kind of background, what's like the depth of the background they give you about the characters you're playing on the show? Or is a lot of it you bringing stuff to the table or to the writers?
Honestly, I had like probably like 3 lines of a character description when I was auditioning for Seb, and that's kind of all I got. Other than that, we get scripts, and like that's what we know. And I think they do that because things change so quickly, and they don't want to like tell us something and then have to rescind it. But and B, because they're still figuring it out themselves of how they want these characters to all go together and how they want to write their journey. So a lot of it is just me sort of guessing and, and bringing whatever I think is right to the table and to the camera whenever it's time. But no, we don't really get actually that much like background story.
Well, that's really interesting. That brings us to our next question, which is, sometimes when you're auditioning for a new play or a new musical, there isn't a lot of information. So, do you have an audition story, like about this process? I mean, I know you said it happened really quick, but when you were asked to audition for Seb, I mean, did you sit down and be like, "These are the choices I'm making," or was it? How did you approach like what you were going to bring to the character and in the audition room?
Honestly, I was in the middle of some crazy like concert, and I was super busy at school at the time. So these auditions were filmed late at night in my friend's room on their blank wall. So it was very much like thrown together. But I of course spent time with the sides and thought about, I really was just trying to bring things that I related to myself to Seb, because I do think we're similar in certain ways. I know he comes from a conservative family on a farm. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I did grow up in a Catholic family. And he, dreams beyond the farm. And I dreamed beyond Bethel Park. So I was just sort of just trying to be as real as possible, and just a normal person, because I feel like that's the like secret of film acting is keeping it like chill and not being like a huge character with like crazy choices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
I think it's
know.
because I always say to my kids, I always say, when you are given sides or you're given material, to really take the time to make a choice, but also know that you may be asked to make another choice. But I think a lot of casting directors and they want to see what you're bringing to the table. I think showing that you've thought about the character and that you've done some connection says, okay, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And did you get any feedback because you had to make a video? Did they ask you to redo it, or were they just like, this is the guy we want?
No, that's exactly what happened actually. I sent in the tape and I made some choices that were maybe a little more flirtatious and a little more what age I actually am.
Yeah.
A little more mature. And I got back and they said, hey, we want you to retape with this note of just make it a little more innocent, a little more drawn back.
That's really good.
Not as no spin, more just like deadpan. Yeah. So that was so then I retaped, just like taking a step back from myself. I don't know.
No, I think that's really good for young artists to hear, because it's not that you made a choice, right? And they obviously saw something in you, but it's being able to like make the adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that's something big that directors and casting directors are looking for, or people that can?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I've said 100% everything you say.
100%.
But no, I think in every audition that I've gone through, I think being able to work with someone and understand what they're trying to throw at you is totally a valuable thing that people are looking for in actors, is being malleable and being able to take direction and try it a different way, but always maintaining yourself and your general training. And I think, sorry, I'm gonna keep talking. Like even whenever you do like think about all these choices that you're making, so much about I think auditioning is like letting that all go and trusting that it's in your preparation. Because if you're thinking too hard about the choices, it can get a little you can get in your own head and then it's not as authentic or real.
Don't you think that relates to music too, though?
I think it relates to all the arts, dance, music, theater. I think your preparation, you're just reaffirming, preparation is so important so that you can be free when you're doing it.
Exactly.
100%. Do you have a worst audition story?
I do. It's from when I was like in high school, but when I would, there's a musical theater production at PCLO, and I was in the middle of I think like a tech week for a show that was not even to do with high school or CLO, and I was just super drawn out and busy, and I did not prepare this audition very well at all. And I went in, I just completely forgot the words, and they let me just sing something that they've heard me sing before. And I was lucky that it was a comfortable location like CLO, but I was just so mortified, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm supposed, I pride myself on always showing up very prepared and presentable and doing good work. So I was just so mad that it did not go as planned. But it all ended up being okay.
I ask that is because I think there's something that, especially with young artists, that's something they can learn from a bad experience. Do you have a takeaway from, did you overextend yourself? Did you not? What is the takeaway from a bad audition for you?
My takeaway was just don't try to learn a song the night before. just because you think it's a good song for the show you're auditioning for.
Guilty.
And if you don't have if you don't have the time to prepare something that you think is, you know, just right for that role or that show, just trust that whatever you do is going to show you, and that's going to be enough. You don't have to bend yourself backwards to try to do what you think they want to see, but just show what you do best and do something you know really well, if especially if you're in a crunch, for sure.
That's great advice. It's all, and it always comes for me. I mean, because Paul's like my in-house arranger, musical director, therapist, counselor, partner.
God
A
bless
lot of
them.
times he's like, "Go to your wheelhouse," and that, and even as a grown up, sometimes you have to be reminded of that. You know, sometimes you just have to be like, do what you know best. Present yourself as who you are, and I know that our students are still growing. They may not know what they do best, but being confident in what you love and just taking a chance and trying it.
100%.
Um, what advice do you have in general for kids who are like, can I make it in this business? Whether it's a musician or an actor or a dancer, what kind of advice would you give that's not like follow your dreams, because we all want people to follow their dreams, but like nitty gritty?
Yeah. Um, the best advice I always turn back to is something I heard in my first year of college from the old chair. And he always says, you cannot move forward if you are looking sideways. And I think that's so true. Um, so often, especially in this business, you can look at what everyone's doing and say like, oh, well, like, I want to do that. That looks really cool. Why am I not doing that? Or like, what can I do to be able to do that? Or, oh, I must not be good because no one asked me to do that. And, you know, it's just all that stuff. You have to move forward on your own path and just trust that that is the path for you. You are exactly where you need to be. And I mean, you just have to trust because there's so much out of your control. I mean, and you are you, and you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay, that's an amazing bit of wisdom. That's an amazing bit of wisdom. And even as you were saying it, I was like, I do that. I mean, we all do that as artists.
Oh,
You're like, there, right? It's a, and all of us, right? That's a great, great thing. And then the second part of what you said, which is you're on your path, is so true. You know, that you're learning at the rate that you need to learn, right? You know, just because the person beside of you does 2 pirouettes and you're just landing one doesn't mean, you know, that's that is great advice. Really, really good. Just stop comparing yourself, right? And just stay on your own
yes,
journey. That's really great.
Definitely.
Any other questions?
it changed my life.
It's really profound, and it's so simple, right?
I know.
It's so simple. It's so straightforward. What do you see happening next for you? I mean, do you have anything in the works that you're excited about? Maybe you can't talk about, but what do you want to keep doing?
It's a good question. I think it's like changed so much in the past few years just because, you know, the original goal was after college, we'll all move to New York and go be on Broadway, right? And then I booked the show and my life just changed wildly. But I really love it. I love working on this show. It's like a blast. And I feel like it's opened my eyes to so many other things that I could dip my toes in. And also, I am finding joy in the unknown of like, you know, like we said, trusting your path and just knowing like, you know, whatever is going to come my way is going to come my way. And I'm just gonna trust that it's gonna be the right thing. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to stay doing TV. I'd love to do like a movie or something, any of that. Of course, I definitely want to be on Broadway, but I also want to just do theater in general. I'd love to like do a play in a random city, maybe come back to Pittsburgh and do a show, all of that. I just want to like keep performing and keep doing art.
Do you have a dream, like some dream actors that you'd be like, I need to work with this person?
Oh gosh, that's a good question.
For Izzy, the reason because we laughed, Izzy was like Olivia Colman. She and I are both obsessed with Olivia Colman, but like, you know, is there like, put it out in the universe? Is there like somebody you're like, I need to work with this person?
It's someone that I need to work with. Huh. I really love Kelly O'Hara, and I would love to like play her son or something in something. I just love Kelly O'Hara and her voice.
That's perfect for you. And she came to Pittsburgh.
She came to Pittsburgh?
Oh God, how many years ago was that? So she came to Pittsburgh when the Cultural Trust was celebrating this big anniversary, and a bunch of us were asked to sing backup for her. And we were like, and the music director for the event was Thomas Douglas, who works at CMU. And so there were a bunch of us, and we had learned this big medley, and she was gonna fly in. She was doing South Pacific at the time, and she was gonna fly in, and we were all like, Kelly O'Hara. You were her son.
Thank you. I just love her. And she just seems like a really gracious person. And, I'm just a huge fan.
Yeah. Well, it'll happen. You've put it out in the universe. It'll happen now.
Knock on wood.
Any other pearls of wisdom that you have that, like I said, that are like, nitty gritty, like it's really hard. I always tell kids, if you choose this path, whether you're a musician or an actor or a dancer, writer, it's hard. And one thing that Paul and I always talk about is being self-motivated. That unless you're self-motivated in this business, people aren't just going to show up at your door. Is that something that you can maybe talk about a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at Michigan was when I really learned the struggle of being an artist. Like I feel like in Pittsburgh, I kind of grew up in I was doing everything that I wanted to do. Even with that bad audition, I was still like with my friends, and I was able to just do shows because I was a kid. You know what I mean? Whereas at Michigan was when I was started auditioning for all of these theaters that were coming through and auditioning all of the students, and I just wasn't hearing back from any of them. And I was like, oh no, I'm not all that I thought I was cracked up to be. So that was it's just hard. But I would just say like it's that perseverance and just being like I said, trusting that path, and whatever's gonna come to you is gonna come to you.
I think that's
but yeah, it's totally.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think it's great for kids to hear that you didn't get jobs.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I think people forget that as artists, we're just constantly having to look for work, having to put ourselves out there, and rejection is just like, it's not a door shutting in your face. It's just like, another road, going down another road, or yeah.
Exactly. And I also, something I loved about that Izzy McCullough interview was when I think you said it, was that Paul said it about there's no audition that's bad, or there's no audition.
Yeah, we were talking to some friends in New York. They said there's no such thing as a wasted good audition.
Yeah.
There's no such thing, because you don't know who's going to see you. And we actually just did another interview that hasn't gone up yet with a friend of ours who is now, she's studying to get her PhD, but she was swing on the producers for how many years? 4 years from the inception of the show, like, and how she got there, and long story short, she kept making auditions in New York, and all of a sudden you start recognizing the casting director, and I remember you. Oh, we're gonna do this, and she comes in and she auditions great, and so I know in your business, my business, it might translate to there's no such thing as a meaningless gig. You never know who's gonna walk in or who can hear you, what they're gonna hear. You have to treat every day like game day, but it's the same thing. I'm gleaning when you audition. You have to go in and give 120% because you don't know if the second assistant director is going to have a project that they're going to have you in mind for, or like it's always an opportunity. The door isn't just the director's door, the person casting the show. It's all these people associated with the show, and you might be the first person they think of the next time they do a show, or the second or third time they do. So it's really, I think, and I try to teach that to my students. Every opportunity you have, you need to. I hate to put it this way, you need to go out there like it's the last last chance that you have. And that kind of phrase is kind of bandied about. But when you live through a pandemic and you haven't played music in 4 months, that whole "this is your last chance to do it" really counts. But yeah, you never know what is going to open a door. Who is going to open that door.
Yes.
Not always the person you thought it was going to be. It could be their third administrative assistant that opens the door, but always an opportunity, and you got to be ready.
Remember when Adrienne she said the person that she thought was the monitor was one of the casting directors.
She had a conversation with this guy for an hour. They were just chatting, and she thought he was the monitor, and at the end of the process, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's a casting director," and she was like, "You never know."
And you're right about the gig thing, and I think that's important. So, like, even though Pittsburgh is a little big town, people come through here.
Yeah.
When Jazz Fest is happening, and Paul's up on stage.
No, I'm at the hotel. That they, I'm playing in the lobby of the hotel.
You've played everywhere.
No, but I treat it like
he's being modest.
Every audience matters, every performance opportunity
But
matters.
it's when people see you and they're like, "Oh yeah," and it's hustling and getting the job and taking the job because it will lead to somewhere else. And I think that's great.
I actually have a story about all that.
Go.
I think the reason that I am on this show is because Tim Federle, who is from Pittsburgh, he's our showrunner. He's the huge producer man now.
Tim Federle is showrunner for High School Musical, the series?
Yes.
Stop it.
Are you guys friends? Do you know him?
Yeah. He's like a little.
Sort of.
I'm just like,
well,
I'm having one of those brain explosion moments because yes, I know him, and he came and spoke with our kids many years ago at our school when he wrote Nate the Great, which I still think needs to be turned into a Broadway musical.
Well, I think he's making the movie right now for Better Nate Than Ever.
Better Nate Than Ever. What did I say? I said Nate the Great. That's COVID brain. I'm sorry. That's what I mean.
No, please.
And I need to be in that movie because when that came out, I made every single one of my students read it, and then we read it and we turned it into scenes because it was just so amazing.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love that.
And he's friends with he's like best friends with one of my best friends.
Who?
The world is this big. This is how big the world is.
That's crazy. Well, the story is I was, the Gene Kelly Awards at Pittsburgh and all that jazz. He was being honored with the Distinguished Alumni Award, and I was in the opening number with the mini stars. Like my high school wasn't even participating, but I was introduced to him at intermission and just like literally in the Benedum lobby. And he was like, "Oh, I totally recognize you. You were in the opening number. And ever since that moment, I was like probably 15, he stayed in touch with me. We like followed each other on social media. And, you know, he was just always like cheering me on from afar. Never would I have guessed that he'd be in charge of this huge show on Disney Plus years later and think of me to like send in an audition tape, you know, like,
No,
but because what do you say?
That's
Tim.
Tim. That's Tim.
Yeah.
That makes my heart so happy. And I think that's something very special about Pittsburghers. We're not groomed to be quite as like that. We're kind of a little more like, you're from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I love Pittsburgh. I have to come back soon. But what I was gonna relate is that, you know, I was in a group opening number. I didn't even have a solo line or anything, but I showed up for that performance, and you know, I did my best work, the best I could do, and he saw that. You know what I mean? Even though I knew it wasn't
that's the whole interview right there.
Star of that number.
Joe,
you know?
that's the whole interview in one moment right there. Is that you did your best work and someone remembered
it. And I'm telling you, I was not the star of this opening number. It was a group chorus. Like there was probably 20 of us. So it's just wild.
That's amazing. Are you, well, you're all wrapped now, so you're probably not seeing Tim, but please shout him out so he'll watch this interview, because I
totally will.
I love him, and his brain is insanely big. He is so talented. Actually, his brain is like genius level. He's so funny. He's so good. So much love to you, Tim. Call me.
Yes. Huge inspiration for sure. That's all I'm to call you.
Give me a buzz. That's amazing. I love that. This is so inspiring, Joe. You're so inspiring, and like we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Everyone in Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously, you know, you have mad love from the CLO, but I'm just so proud to know you. And I think we might have done Sound of Music together.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
In 2011.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What did you say?
Were you Friedrich?
No, I was Kurt.
Kurt. Okay. I was second nun. I was like a nun.
Of course.
Doesn't matter. It was
the best nun.
Yeah. With Paige Davis.
Yeah. Oh no, I was in it with Jennifer Hope Wills.
Oh.
Paige Davis did it before her. And that one
times.
Did you? Well, then you did it with me too.
Yeah, I did it with you. Yeah.
But my sister was in the first one as Brigida.
Yes, all of the Marias have blended into one person for me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm so. Do you have?
But I mean, that's the Sound of Music production. Oh, sorry.
No, good.
I was gonna say that's the Sound of Music production that I came home and sounded out on the piano. That Paige Davis one. I mean, I was probably like 6.
6 years old?
I think so.
Out on the
Yeah.
piano?
I just loved it.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was just lucky we had a piano in the house.
We have a piano, but we don't play it enough. It's behind Paul. Paul's the musician.
That's okay.
I just asked him to play. So, is there anything, okay, we were asking if there's anything you wanted to plug, but we kind of went down the road. Is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, really, right now, it's just season 2 of HSM TMTS. Comes out May 14th on Disney Plus.
HSM-TMTS. That's hilarious.
It's the hashtag.
Oh, we'll hashtag it. Can you give us a little, do you do any solo singing? Can you give us a little hint of what episode you might be extra juicy in?
I can't tell you, but I'll tell you just because I already have said it on an interview. I'm excited for everyone to see episode 5.
Okay, perfect. That's what we're looking for. Episode 5. We will look out for you and set the DVR.
It's all streaming, so you can just.
Oh, that's right. You can do it anytime. We're all.
That's okay.
We'll set the VHS. No, I'm just kidding.
My mom does the same thing. She's like, "Oh, do I have to DVR it? Do I have to record it?" I'm like, "No, you can just watch it."
Anytime. Oh, you are amazing. And before we go, because we do this for fun, you want to ask some real fun questions?
Sure. So during the pandemic, especially when it started, we know that everybody was baking bread and watching TV. Did you have anything that you got into big time on TV? Did you have any favorite shows of note?
This is so embarrassing, and I've never been a reality television person, but I've watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and The Real Housewives of New York, and they're very entertaining ladies. It's very dramatic, but yeah, that's just something I can throw on and sort of be on my computer while it's on. But other TV, I watched Euphoria for the first time on HBO. That was really good. I don't know what else. I'm trying to think. What else has been like viral? Oh, there's this really great HBO Max show. It's not viral, but it's called Veneno, and it's Veneno, Veneno, and it's in Spanish, so you have to watch with like titles. But it's really, really, and it's adult for sure. It's adult content, but it's really, really great storytelling and like really beautiful work.
Nice. We watch a lot of comedies. We're pretty comedy based. Have you seen Ted Lasso?
No, but my brother told me to watch it. It's on my list. It's literally on my list.
So good. It's so good. It's the show we need right now.
Yep.
It'll really make you feel good.
Yeah, it's really fun. And then, of course, I watch British. So I survived the pandemic by watching The Crown, Broadchurch, The Great British Bake Off 50 times, all of that. And what was your two?
I'm a standard. I like The Boys, Stranger Things.
Oh, I watched Stranger Things.
Stuff everybody, and recently we finished watching WandaVision.
Oh, we just finished that too. So good.
So good.
So fun.
Yeah.
Talk about it. The job of a showrunner for these shows. A show like that is so. I'm not saying your show is not minuscule details, but
no.
That is Luke Skywalker going to show up at the end of season 2 of your show?
I don't think so. Another comedy though that I did watch in quarantine was Schitt's Creek, which I loved.
Who's your favorite?
I think Alexis is my favorite.
I love her too.
That's not your favorite.
No,
I just
Moira.
Well, of course, Moira.
She's a freaking genius.
She's genius.
She is underrated.
Who, Alexis?
Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, no. Alexis's real name is Annie
Murphy.
Thank you. She's underrated because her comic timing and her deadpan is.
I agree. And then also she really lets you into her heart in certain moments. And you're like, oh, wow, she's like a full human being there. Like even as funny and cartoon as she can be, she's she's really beautiful. I love her character.
I love her too. I do too. We love that show.
And I love a lot of good TV shows. And the mark of a great one, in my opinion, is that you don't sit down the first episode and you're like, I love this, I'm hooked. Like it takes 3 or 4 episodes. And then after 4 episodes, you're like, I can't miss another episode. It's like heroin, right? You're like totally addicted to the show. And Schitt's Creek was like that because I started watching it. Her sister was like, you gotta watch it, you gotta watch it,
I started watching it, and you were kind of like, I'm not into it. I'm not into it. And then by the end of the first season, there's that episode where they go out to dinner with their friends, and you're just like, I'm totally addicted to the show.
Yeah.
Like, we can't miss another
Except
episode.
I hate to say this. You and I both were addicted to Ted Lasso first show. That's not true. The first show we were hooked after the first episode.
Was it one episode? I thought for me it was about 2.
All right.
It's great.
And what can't you live without during this pandemic? What's something you cannot live without?
The one thing, or like a list?
You're the star of
I would actually say I bought this keyboard behind me. I don't know if you can see it.
Paul wants to see it. Show him the toys.
It's just a little keyboard. It's nothing special. But once quarantine started, I didn't have a keyboard on me, and I was like, I kind of need a musical instrument to play. Like, if I'm gonna be stuck here, I need to have a piano. So I got that, and that's been I was very happy to get the keyboard.
That's wonderful. You should I mean, you're on a network show. Get your sponsorship going.
I know.
Hey,
yes.
I'm on HSM TMTS.
You did it. Oh my gosh, you did it.
You get your sponsorship. You get your endorsement.
Yeah.
I know. I should have, huh?
I don't even know.
See, I need to be a better businessman. I don't think about that stuff. I'm still like, I'm just an actor. But,
Okay, I have a great idea. I think as we wrap this up, you should play us out.
What should I play?
Anything you want. Anything and everything you want. But I will say this, before you do that, I really love you.
Oh, I love you.
And I think
every time I think of you, I think of your performance in The Diary of Anne Frank at the Public, because you just wrecked my heart. You wrecked me in that show.
You're gonna make me cry.
It was so good.
She was great, wasn't she?
That you just threw. I did not see that coming, and you made my heart melt just now. That was probably, for me, that was probably one of the hardest jobs I'll ever do.
Really?
Oh, it was like being in a car wreck every show. I mean, I'm so blessed that I got to do it, but it was exhausting.
I'm sure.
Exhausting, yeah. Oh, you're so dear, and you're so talented, and you're so sweet, and I wish you nothing but super mega success and joy and health and come back to the Berg.
Thank you so much. I definitely hope to soon, for sure.
Do you want to play us out?
I guess. I don't know what to play.
Anything. It doesn't matter.
Here, let me get me angled a little bit.
Yeah, this is.
I know. I don't know what to play though.
What's your go-to when you need a lift song? It can be Broadway, or it could be.
See, I play everything from the iPad because
that's fine.
That's what musicians do now.
I'll just go to like a fun something fun. I'm just so under pressure.
I totally put you on the spot. I'm so
on the spot. Here, let's do a little
Okay, go.
Oh, I think this is gonna be fine. Okay. I think this is a girl key, but it's fine. I'm just gonna sing a little Go the Distance.
Yes.
I'll be there someday. I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong.
Okay, we end every episode the same way. I love you.
I love you.
And we love you.
I love you. Thank you, guys.